All right, say yes. Yes. Which one? Yeah, that makes way more sense. Oh, yeah. Yeah, save that data, brother. Are you on a limited data projectile out there in the street? But in where you live, do you have a limited allotment of data monthly? Because a lot of you guys out there have that problem. All right. Welcome back to another episode of Jacob V Weekly. We want to start, as always, by inviting you to check out Caddyshack of New Hamel, Illinois. I sit on the board of directors, apparently, for my favorite local family-owned tiny operation of a cat rescue. We've rescued literally thousands of cats, and every dime goes straight into actually helping, saving, healing those cats that they rescued. So the only way to support this show is patreon.com/JacobV, that's VI, and tons of content on the Patreon. Tonight at midnight, so 1/20/2023, a new music video by No Antics, conceived and directed by yours truly, shot by myself and the band, DIY guerrilla warfare style, at my mother's secret cabin.
Oh, wow.
Out in Pacific. And there's a trailer on Instagram right now. By the time you hear this episode, that video will be out on YouTube. And we are playing what will be tonight, January 20th, at the Duck Room. Check out that lineup. I'm sure we're playing early. We're not headlining. There's a touring act on it. And they'll probably make us play first because they're sexist.
Yo, that's crazy.
And if you're on the Patreon, I'll totally guest list you for that show. So just text me. Hit a girl up on the page. On the page. Joe, I need you to fucking be here with me, you piece of shit.
I know. No, I'm here. I'm here right now. I thought you were doing your announcements.
Stop what you're doing.
Oh. You mean the podcast?
Blinded by Stereo is a band that I'm in. Blinded by Stereo has a vinyl record that you should fucking order on Bandcamp. Please. Matt will personally ship it for you. If you do it late enough in the evening, if he's been playing golf with his buddies, he may even ship it to you for free. Blinded by Stereo tape. I just got those boys in line. I said, listen, we have material that's not on the record that I really like, and we need to start planning another record. The vinyl is a maybe. I'd like to sell out of the vinyls we have before we print more, but definitely material coming from them. There's at least an album's worth of songs that people can't just go play whenever they want. So, but there is also a full album out there that sounds just beautiful. It's an absolute cornerstone of my portfolio at this point. It just was a great experience. Like I mentioned, No Antics. Let's do some dates. I get requests all the time from some people want me to have a mailing list or a gig calendar. Oh, tonight, January 20th, I'm going to be at the Duck Room with No Antics. Tomorrow, January 21st, I'm going to be with Fresh Rain at the Alton VFW. If you want to come have some fried catfish and dance. What else are we doing? Next weekend, I'm doing my first showcase with the School of Rock. My band is doing Prince and Michael Jackson. That's going to be on the Sunday afternoon at the Red Flag, 29th. That's going to be really good. Don't pass up on that. February's coming up. That's already booking up. We got February shit in the books. I want to say February 10th, No Antics is at Bootleg and Bob's. Last time we were at Bootleg and Bob's, it was an absolutely transcendent experience. My brother walked in to the bar full of young people, and I'm ripping on the synthesizer, and he didn't even know I was going to be there. My brother's just a shit bum. He likes to go to little dive bars like that on his way home from other dive bars.
Shit bum.
So they didn't even know No Antics was going to be there. He walks in, and I'm just ripping it, just giving it to him. Oh, fuck, that reminds me. I have a new sample intro from a song I need to load into one of my keyboards for tomorrow. Fuck. No Antics. Bootleg and Bob's, February 10th. Fresh Rain is going to be at the Red Star Grill in Cape Girardeau if you're down there. That is February 11th. That doesn't make any sense. Joe, you really should have my dates on a list. Like, it's like you don't even care about this show.
Yeah, I really got
the other night, I played at the Sky Music Lounge with a band I made called Flyover State. We do like Southern Americana rock stuff, like Tom Petty and John Mellencamp and Cracker and
You don't
fucking
know
REM
how it
and
feels.
yeah, exactly. We do that one. That's a really good one. Let me get to the point.
What?
And those people can't handle the whole thing. When you really give them the full volume performance like I do in Baldwin, they just don't expect it. They expect to have to go down someplace dangerous to see true art like that. They're just not prepared when you just melt a face. So, yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned for that stuff. Jacob V's favorite songs in January on Spotify is up. That's the companion playlist for the show. Pop in on that. Again, I mean, what is your deal? Last time you were so fucking cranked up that I couldn't even get you to shut up.
Dude,
and now
I was actually taking crank the last time we were. Yeah,
but here, what is your
crank.
deal right now? It's like I mean, like,
So I've
you
switched to
begged me
something
do the
called
show.
crack. Before
Are you
this,
trying crack without me? We were supposed to try crack together on the show.
I want to do crack on air. Wouldn't that be fucking crazy?
I want to do crack. I want to try crack.
Try crack. I want to talk about Alec Baldwin.
We're not there yet.
Oh.
First off, R.I.P.
You
David
just
Crosby.
nip all of my transitions in the bud.
You are not producing the show. You are all of a sudden you want to talk about how, this is what we should say and when we should say it. And guess what, bitch? That's my fucking job. I'll let you know when it's time to talk about Alec Baldwin being charged with manslaughter. Before we talk about Alec Baldwin being charged with manslaughter, I just want to say R.I.P. David Crosby. I believe he was the sperm donor fathering Melissa Etheridge's children.
Mm-hmm.
And he also kind of looked like a walrus.
He did.
And he wrote some beautiful jams. Just, what is your favorite David Crosby?
I really just liked all of his hot takes. He was kind of a funny guy. Like he was like super liberal or something, but I don't remember. He was kind of like center left, but he would always have some really hot takes on Trump and
that
stuff.
Generation, like politically, they did this thing where they would be really, really progressive, but then with a really finite end to that whole thing. Like they'd have a certain point where they would get off the train, and they don't change anything they believe. They just quit updating it with new examples. And so they might have been really anti-war and really pro-civil rights, but then they grow up to be really fiscally conservative. And it's like, I mean, all of your ideologies don't necessarily line up. So I would believe it if he was like a free love hippie kind of guy who also was like, well, I think we should abolish the IRS and the public school system. That wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
If he went off the cliff into that a little bit, that would be great. You could research that a little bit. I don't want to type and do the show.
I'm doing it.
And so, well, I'm just saying, so that, and I do want to go ahead and get on to Alec Baldwin as soon as we can figure out a single song by David Crosby.
Oh, he's in the Bird. No, he was in the Birds. He was in the Bird. He did He also did that one song. What?
Turn.
He did Crosby, Stills and Nash.
That
so
one?
he did. And then he also did. He did like. I want to say.
Wait. Horse with No Name was
wife beating James Taylor. James
wife
beater Taylor. You told me that this afternoon.
That doesn't mean it's real.
you said he wrote it about like Tilda Swinton or something.
That's about America. The song "Horse with No Name" is by America.
Oh my God. It's by the band America.
Here's the thing. Yeah, it's by the band America on the album America. A Horse with No Name was written by Dewey Bunnell.
Dewey Bananas.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I used to watch a lot of VH1 when I was a kid. And because I just love culture, you know what I mean? And so a show on VH1 was called I Love the 70s, maybe. And one of the songs they talked about on I Love the 70s was You're So Vain, which truthfully, the story is Carly Simon wrote that about James Taylor.
You probably think this song
is about you, don't you? I think it was also rumored that she could have written it about Mick Jagger, but I think the true story is supposed to be she wrote it about James Taylor, and that part I believe. Now, as a joke, some guy whose face you would recognize from bullshit TV comedy, whose name I cannot place, he said she wrote that about James Taylor, and he wrote Horse with No Name about her, just as a funny way to call her a horse with no name. But actually, truthfully, now that I'm looking it up, that has no connection. That song has no connection to James Taylor or David Crosby.
Let me just...
Okay. What you just experienced is something I just talked about at dinner with my best friend, Emma. I just hosted trivia at Blue Wood Brewing, and you guys should come out. This is one of the biggest games we ever had this week. It's the hottest trivia night in town. It's free to play. If we run out of shit, we'll print more shit. There's no cap on how many people will be there. You can bring your own food, and you can win free drinks every round. You don't have to wait to the end to win. And so it's a really fun game. And tonight was really special. A big group of people were there that I went to high school with. Because my buddy from high school owns the place, and he's the brew guy, and so they were all hanging out there for trivia. And then I have 7 or 8 regular teams that come every week, and then my wife was there. She helps me keep score at the end when it gets crazy, and a bunch of our friends were there. Now some of us went to dinner afterwards at the Cafe Piazza. Shout out! I think our waiter was QAnon, but the food was lovely. And he wasn't QAnon himself. He's just a QAnon guy. He recommended some book about space. We were just making a joke about squid because we ordered calamari. And then he told us to look up some book about the space-time continuum that he heard about on Rogan, I think. And which is great. That's a dog whistle. When you're trying to order some arancini, you know what I'm saying, brother? I want a risotto fried ball, dog. And you're talking to me about Squid Games, brother, dog, fam. Anyway... but Emma called me out at dinner for this thing that she calls the Golden Corral effect, which is a bad habit of mine, and people in my family will impulsively tell you something with an assumed confidence that is so profound that people often interpret these things to be real. And then sometimes years later, you realize that it's not real. It was like a joke that nobody ever pulled the punch on.
It's a lie? The thing that they told you in confidence was a lie?
With confidence, not in confidence.
With confidence.
With confidence.
Why is that? What does that have to do with delicious Golden Corral?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Home cooked meals.
So early, Emma and I have been best friends since August 25th of 2005 when I asked her to borrow her eyeliner because that night I was going to see the White Stripes at the Fox Theater and I really needed to feel confident and I wanted somebody to put eyeliner on my face.
Really gay.
And that's when we first met. And we at some point I told her a story that I had gotten kicked out of Golden Corral for trying to put meatloaf in the chocolate fountain.
Oh my God.
I don't know if we talked about this when she was on the show. She's been on the show a couple of times.
Monster.
She's a good friend of mine. And I told her this whole story about how, the lady screamed at me, "Sir, you can't put savories in the sweets." And that they kicked me out. Now, but here's the thing. I just thought that was funny. And just the inspiration from God hit me like a lightning bolt in my brain. At the time, I was maybe like 17 when I told her this, maybe 20. You know what I mean? Like young. And she believed it for like 8 years. She thought that was a real story, and I had ended up telling it to my wife and like other people in our friend group who believed it for years, up until just a couple years ago. Similarly, when I was a kid, that none of that happened at the Golden Corral. I just thought it would be funny if it had happened, and I thought it was a good story, so I told it to Emma one time because we were bored. Joe,
I'm listening.
you're not. You're fucking not, because
I
you're
listened to
fucking
the
not
story.
responding. But you're not responding at all, so it makes it feel like I'm not talking to anybody.
I'm so sorry. I heard
I'm not
that it was a
mad.
great story, though. The Golden Corral story.
Well, it's
That's
not
the clip.
done, because, like, for
That's the
example,
clip.
when I was a little kid, my grandmother told me that she had gotten fired from Taco Bell for putting too much sour cream on a taco, which is just not a thing that would happen. But I believed her because I was a little kid, and I believed everything she said.
They didn't have Taco Bell back then.
And then years later, like, it wasn't until I was like a grown adult that I realized, wait a minute, you never worked at Taco Bell. That doesn't match any of the other information I have about your life at all. And she was like, yeah, why did you think I worked at Taco Bell? I'm like, because you told me you worked at Taco Bell. And this happened when Clay was on the show. At some point last year, Emma's about a year.
Yeah,
Emma's about a year behind. They won't remember lying.
Yeah.
That's why Mark Twain said that shit about the truth.
He said that he invented the Golden Corral effect, Mark Twain.
Yeah. This all goes back to Mark Twain.
But that's really funny. I remember
my grandfather.
I have
My
a
grandfather
Golden
would
Corral.
also do this. Like for a time, my grandfather was driving a shuttle at the airport when he was retired, but trying to make a little side pocket change. You know what I mean? Driving the shuttle, and
coin.
He would do this to people all the time. Like they would ask him something like, "Hey, do you know what the exchange rate is from Canadian dollars to US dollars?" And he would just give them a number.
Yeah.
He would just make one up, but very confidently. He would just say it's 357. Like he would just say, "Oh yeah, it's 1 Canadian dollar is exactly 2.48 or something, whatever the thing is." Like he would just make it up, but so confident and specific and quick that people would just believe him.
That's all
And
it took to be
they would-
smart back then, because you didn't have a phone.
Right. Also part of that. But so we found out on the podcasts about this time last year that Emma's exactly a year behind on the podcast. So she was telling me about this episode. This is why she brought it up at dinner, that at some point, like 10 years ago, I convinced Clay that Wes Anderson and Paul Thomas Anderson are brothers.
That's so stupid.
And he believed it. He pushed back at first, but I was able to be so convincing. I made up some story about how they grew up making movies together or something. And he believed it and told it to people for literally a decade.
Oh my god, that's just like my mom. She said, "It's like my mom. She said she went to school with the fucking the actor and just fucking lied about it."
My mom told my cousins growing up that in the 80s, before any of us were born, she sang backup for Aerosmith. And the 80s were not.
That's so awesome.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff happening, and so these kids aren't necessarily going to go pull research, especially not when we were children. We didn't really do Google and stuff back then when she started telling us that. So that's the thing. It's a thing in my family that people do. They will fucking lie. And let it go to see, like to be funny. It's like a long running prank, but really it started innocently. I wanted to tell my friend Emma a funny story, and I didn't have one because we were bored, because we didn't want to work, so we didn't have any money, so we didn't do anything. So I had never been kicked out of a Golden Corral. I had been to a few. We used to have a shitbox buffet over here on Watson called Ryan's.
Ryan.
It was ratchet. It was so good.
Right on.
And John was saying, like, when his friends on spring break one year, they went to Branson and they went to a buffet. It was like all you can eat, like steak, but it was like actually just chuck roast that had been cut into the shape of steaks. And so it was a really weird eating experience. But it was all you can eat. So what are you going to do? It's like, I'll butcher it. I don't give a fuck. As long as I can chew it, dog.
Yeah, it's seasonal, that shit. It's like country fried steak.
So we have talked about the Golden Corral effect. We have talked about David Crosby. We didn't really name a David Crosby song. We got sucked into
Well, David Crosby was in Buffalo Springfield, which I forgot about.
And I love Buffalo Springfield.
So, it's really funny because he hates Neil Young with like a passion, because Neil Young,
They were going to play in the Ed Sullivan Show, and then the night before.
Whoa. Don't fucking change your fucking dynamic like that.
Fuck.
Are you kidding?
No,
You're going to start screaming in my ear after laying back on the couch?
Oh, sorry.
And now your camera's dead?
The podcast is falling apart. Stop calling me. Oh my god, I can't do anything.
Where's your camera, Joe?
Everything's falling apart. We lost Joe. Neil, it was the night before they were
still screaming. Now you're still screaming in my ear. You know you can hear yourself in your headphones.
It was the night before they were supposed to be on Ed Sullivan. And
please don't talk away from your microphone, because it's going to be hard in post to live.
Out because he wants to start his own band. The night he chose to back out was the night they were going to play Ed Sullivan. But back then, that was shit.
That was like the thing. That was like the number one thing.
Oh,
it was like the number one opportunity.
Samantha, I'm sorry. I woke up my fiance. I'm sorry.
Because you were
quiet down.
Because you fucking are yelling.
I'm sorry, I can't. The studio's set up. I love you so much. My life's falling apart.
God. This is a nightmare.
Okay, anyway. So
if we weren't streaming live right now.
Okay. So anyway, so that's all that happened. Yeah, they played that song.
So they didn't play the set? They didn't play the set on the Ed Sullivan show?
No, they didn't. No. Isn't that crazy? It was right when the band was like about to take off. Because back then, that was like when the band was going to take off. Is that a bomb pop that you're reading? That was when the band was like officially going to take off. Was when you got to play the Ed Sullivan Show. That's because that's like the most watched television event was the Ed Sullivan Show with the Beatles, because like everybody was waiting for that big moment. Anyway.
Wow. Yeah. You know what your specialty is? Establishing momentum and then fucking it up.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Hey, for the Google phone, for the text message that's on the screen right now, you can always text the show live at 314-626-4208. Is that the Jacob V Weekly Gmail or my personal Gmail?
That's the Jacob V Weekly email.
I mean, because I got that new phone this week.
Yeah, we're gonna do we're gonna do Jacob V's tech reviews.
Of what?
I don't know. It'd just be funny if that was a sketch in the show.
Okay, let's refocus. Let's tighten up here. Can I tell you what I want you to tell me about right now?
Mm-hmm.
Alec Baldwin being charged with manslaughter.
I have a lot of interesting takes. So the story goes that obviously.
Okay, but can you give me just the facts first? Just what happened today? Here's
what happened. Well, today he's being officially charged by the judge that for involuntary manslaughter, and
manslaughter,
which I was like, oh, that sucks, because I was like, what if that was me? And then every time, and it's always with this particular story. Every time I read into this story, I'm like, nope, yep, he fucked up. But like basically, he was on set and he's a producer, right? He's not only an actor, he's a producer as well for this film Rust that's never going to come out. But they decided
You don't think it'll ever come out now?
No, it'll definitely not. But they never finished it. But they didn't hire a union crew, right? And so like the other problem was they weren't practicing any like gun safety like regulations, where if you have a union, they're like required to, and it's like a huge like block of time, because you have to talk to the entire crew about gun safety and like all the different, rules and regulations, and like there's a really big process for handling the guns on set, even if they're not using like real rounds. But this gun had a real round in it, and
why?
Actually, because they were practicing with them the day before.
Is that real? We had heard that early on, that they were test firing the gun with live ammunition on set.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so as a producer, do you think that makes him more criminally negligent?
He's more liable because he just had to take on more.
More liable is the word. Yeah.
Yeah. He took on more. of a responsibility, and it was his job. It's part of his job as a producer to upkeep, like to keep up, safe practices on set and reinforcing the regulations. And he wasn't doing that at all. He gets handed an active gun and
Live.
live, and so he shoots her. And the worst thing is I'm pretty sure he was goofing off with it too at the same time, which makes it even worse. He was goofing off with the gun simultaneously, and so he is going to be, put on trial for this, which I think he absolutely. And this being said, the largest he could get sentenced is like 18 months in prison with like a $5,000 fine, which in the article they make it sound like that's horrible, but it's like, dude, fuck you killed somebody, man. Like you accidentally killed somebody. Like a citizen would go to school, go to fucking school. They would go to prison forever, shit like that, So he's
do you think he'll do any time?
He definitely will. I think they're out to get
Time?
him with this. Yeah, I think they're out to get him. I bet you he's gonna do 10 months in jail in prison. Yeah, I bet you.
That's always a mixed bag, isn't it? When is it a short amount of time?
It's gonna be exactly. It's gonna be his choice too. I think
Like
he's
he'll get
gonna
to choose when and where type of thing.
No. I think he's going to like not go hard because he's a super liberal, and I think he's gonna I think his people, they're gonna tell him.
You think he's gonna lib it up?
Yeah, I think they're gonna be like,
is he gonna lib it up? Is he
Yeah.
libbing every minute of it?
Yeah, I think they're gonna be like 10 months. You can handle 10 months. You go in there, you take responsibility.
Alec,
Yeah.
you can do 10 months. Alec, stop crying.
Yeah.
Alec, you can do 10, brother.
Yeah.
Your brother did 18 for cocaine. You can do 10 for shooting
Seriously?
abroad in the face.
That's so.
Didn't one of them do
Let me see.
18 months for coke? Something?
Baldwin's brother.
Maybe snorting coke off of a minor or something. His brother's is bad news.
I just Google Alec Baldwin's brother went to jail too. That's what I wrote in the search bar.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, I just wrote, one of the Baldwin brothers had a bad luck. Oh man, he looks awful. Santa Monica Jail. He was booked at Santa Monica Jail and held on $20,000. No, he got bailed out of that shit. He didn't go to prison. Baldwin brothers.
I thought one of them did some time. Maybe I'm thinking of Marky Mark's brother.
Prison time.
Did Marky Mark's brother do some hard time?
Well, he's in a bunch of cop shows now, so I feel like that's unlikely.
Okay,
Stephen
but so you're
Baldwin
just
voiced
fucking
Al.
shooting from the hip? You're going to shoot
Hip
from the
dick.
hip. You're not going to Google, did Marky Mark's brother do some hard
I
time?
was Googling the Baldwin brothers, but yes, I'll do that. Did Marky Mark's brother...
Keep my Baldwin tab open because we're coming back to Alec and the other ones. But did Marky Mark's brother do some hard time in the joint?
No, Donnie Wahlberg, he's a successful actor. No, he didn't go to jail. He didn't go to prison.
Are you assuming that though?
No, I'm looking at it. Personal life.
As long as you're not assuming it, as long as you know.
Yeah, he had a misdemeanor for criminal mischief. He had drunk driving. Yeah, but he didn't go to jail. He didn't go to prison. He was forced to do some public service videos.
Has anyone ever done any hard time? It doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, no. Roman Polanski got away. Woody Allen, Michael Jackson, they're all fine. No jail. What are you doing? Oh my God. Is it happening? Oh my God.
What? Oh, I was signing into the Google
God,
phone
I thought
thing
you
so
were
I could
dying.
get the text message.
I
So
can't.
we
I can't.
I
do
just
it on
because I
air.
told people at trivia that we were podcasting. So if anyone ends up texting the show, I don't want to totally ignore them. Alec, do you think he'll do 10 months in jail?
I bet you he's going to get 10 months. He's going to pay the.
Why do you think 10?
Because I don't think he'll do full 18. I'll think because what he wants to do is he wants to make sure everybody knows that it isn't his fault. But I think he'll go to jail. He'll go to prison for for like as to pay respect to the woman he accidentally killed, you know, because somebody's got to do some time. I'll tell you what, his associate, somebody else is getting charged as well. The other the company that handled the arms, the head of that company, I think is going to fucking prison. Let me see. Okay, here we go. There should have been an investigation into what happened, a crew member said. There were no safety meetings. There was no assurance that it wouldn't happen again. All they wanted to do was rush. A colleague was so alarmed by the prop gun misfires that he sent a text message to the unit production manager. We've now had 3 accidental discharges. This is super unsafe, according to a copy. Oh my God, this is before it happened. Holy shit. The safety of our cast and crew is the top priority on Rust Productions. Yeah, I don't think so. And everyone associated with the company, the Rust movie production said in this statement.
The company is called Rust?
No, well, so when you like, sometimes I think when you make a film,
They like set up an LLC just
Yeah.
for the one movie,
Yeah,
just as
yeah.
like a tax scam.
in the same way that like you'll have a website just for like one movie, you can still go to Indiana Jones Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.com actually.
That's the movie you go with, huh?
Yeah. I used to visit that website a lot when I was a kid. I was really excited for that movie. The filmmaking team was lining up its camera angles and had yet to retreat to the video village, an on-set area with. Okay. Yeah, I think this production was just super unregulated.
Well, there's a lot of that because doing it legit is really, really, really expensive and slow, right?
Yeah.
And so, so I'm sure people are cutting corners all the time using what we call scabs, which are non-union, lower budget versions of otherwise unionized services, like, you know, props and shit. So I mean, and if he wants to be the producer so that he can, you know, get the movie, he can make the movie and then get a bigger chunk of the thing and then save on his salary. That's the thing. He's not paying himself twice.
This is interesting. So
Or he is. It's a tax scam.
the person in charge of
Doesn't he have like 10 kids though?
Oh yeah, he's got a franchise of kids. So
He should have each of the kids do 1 month for him.
they would absolutely be willing to do anything for you, Father.
No, I
So-
think they all think they're Spanish.
Estevez.
Isn't it his wife that thinks she's Spanish, or she's trans Spanish? She wants to be Spanish.
Transman.
Isn't that Hilaria Baldwin? Doesn't she
Hilaria.
act like she's cotillion Spanish, but she's like
I want to give the audience the full story. Someone else is being charged in this. Hannah Gutierrez Reed, who was in charge of the weapons during.
Why
the
do you
filming.
refuse to say her name right?
She has a name.
Say her name, Joe.
Hannah Gutierrez Reed,
That's a little better. I
Who is-
appreciate it. I just put some respect on it. You know what I mean?
who was in charge of weapons during the filming, will be charged with the same in criminal courts. So she's interesting. She's like some nepotism child. The person
She's a
in charge.
nepo. She's a nepo baby.
The Nepo baby. The person in charge of overseeing the gun props, known as the armorer, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, could not be reached for a comment. The 24-year-old is the daughter of veteran armorer Thel Reed and had recently completed her first film as the head armorer for the movie The Old Way with Clint Howard and Nicolas Cage. That is so
So
funny.
that's not like a family business thing. That's like a
24-year-old. A
She
24-year-old.
was 24 and she was
I'm
doing the guns
25.
on Rust.
And she was in charge of gun props.
Of the guns on Rust.
God, that
Confirm
is,
that for me. Are you saying,
Yeah, she
sir, for the
was.
record,
Yeah.
that the 24-year-old nepo baby was in charge of the guns on Rust?
Yeah.
And maybe it is Alec Baldwin's fault because he was supposed to be in charge of that kind of stuff as a
And-
co-producer of the film.
Yeah, and the guns kept going
Is that
off.
what you're telling me, brother?
Yeah.
And the gun, what? And they were live testing firearms on set,
Yeah.
and he maybe could have even been goofing off with it. Is there any reason to believe that maybe he wanted to shoot that specific lady? Have you seen anything about that?
No, let me look that up. It did.
Is there any reason to believe that maybe it was an accident on purpose?
Hold
Because
on.
it, I mean,
Want to shoot her. Someone, yeah, no. His famous statement is, "Someone is responsible for this, but it isn't me." Yeah,
that's been on TikTok like crazy.
I beg to differ. He doesn't believe he or anyone else will face criminal charges in the fatal shooting. Man, for someone to die while somebody's making a joke with a gun on set, like,
I just
somebody's
confirmed the
got
phone
him.
number is working. So if you have any perspective on the Alec Baldwin situation, you could text the show right here on the screen, brother.
For sure.
314-626-4208. Alec Baldwin's going to fucking prison.
Oh yeah. Hell
Am I
yeah.
right? Who's with me, ladies?
Anyway, back
Joe,
to,
you have to talk to me.
yeah,
You have to talk to me as the other guy on the show.
yeah, for sure.
You're not. You're not even talking to me now. You're trying
I
to
wanna
get me
talk
to
about
leave you alone
FTX
so
now.
you could dive into your goddamn fucking Google Chrome tabs. So we got Crosby, R.I.P. Alec Baldwin going to fucking
R.I.P.
jail, maybe. R.I.P. to that booty hole.
Yeah. Okay. And what they have, what? No.
God, I bombed a joke this evening at trivia. I made my joke about how the Whitney Houston hologram in Las Vegas is $97 and how for $97 you better get up out the tub. But nobody laughed.
Oh my God.
And so then this table of nurses in front of me kind of turned around.
Oh
And
my
I was like,
God.
God, this is my trivia game, bitches. It's free to play. I can make a joke.
I can make it.
The hologram is literally $90. I'm not the criminal here.
Horrible.
I saw this today and I asked you to prep it. FTX has enough money to repay their investors that would be, represented in any kind of a criminal intervention here. So he said this from the beginning. Sam Bankman-Fried has said from the beginning that FTX wants to make everybody whole and he wants to return all the money that people lost, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how that's possible. But my heart is open to it. Joe, what are you hearing?
So I guess he got like $5 billion in assets recovered. It would only find $1 billion in the wake of the collapse last year. So I guess he was able to recover like $5 billion. And the bankruptcy court heard that the company, which was valued at $32 billion, blah blah blah. Okay, he's missing $8 billion, so he was able to recover $5 billion, which is super suspicious.
Billion?
Yeah, $5 billion.
Gee.
But you know what's so fucking crazy is like, so when he got bailed out of that, that not American prison wherever he was, he got bailed out of jail. Somebody fronted, it was like $250 million that he needed to get out of jail. And somebody fronted like a huge portion of that, like $150 million. And we don't know who that was. I think something's going on like really weird because, his family had to take donations and only got like, 30 million or something to get him out.
Donations?
And like, I have no idea how, like we there's somebody who's kind of floating them a little bit. And I'm wondering if that 5 billion hasn't been recovered, but I wonder if instead it's been gifted. But yeah, so he's going to, try to pay everybody back. That'd be very interesting.
Who do you think that could be?
I think it's the, he's
Say it.
part of a
Say
very
it.
specific ethnicity of people that seem to take care of each other.
No. That's not what I wanted you to say. That's not what I thought you were going to say. The Bidens.
No. Well, the liberals definitely love the fuck out of him. Like, I mean, you saw that fucking New York Post.
I didn't see it.
Thing.
That's why you're in charge.
Yeah, no, you saw the New York Post, New York Times. Sam Bankman-Fried tried to save the world, but failed. It's like, no, $8 billion has gone missing, dude.
What? How was he saving the world?
This
Did he
is
live in a sex cult in the Bahamas?
yeah. No. He was trying to like donate a ton of money to all these different private interest groups, but they were all supposed to be like super big world players, and like he's donating a ton of money to the Democratic Party. The only reason Biden won the election was probably because of FTX, in my opinion.
That's
where
why
all
I
those
thought
get out
you were
and
going to
vote
say
campaign
Biden
things.
is helping him out. I thought you were going to say Joe Biden is helping him out because
I
I
can see
knew
that.
that much. I don't know why you would have said the things that you started to say.
I could say, you know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that sounds like a better
Isn't something
option
crazy
than the
going
Jews
on? Did
helping
I
out.
read? Did I read that Hunter Biden is trying to get a court to prevent one of his illegitimate kids from taking his last name?
Yeah, I heard that too. I wonder what
Jeepers
that's all about.
creepers, cheese and rice.
You can't be a Biden.
I mean, that's cold. That's
so
cold.
funny.
She's a girl. She might not even stay a Biden forever. She may change that name again.
So
Let
funny.
her be a Biden for a while. Maybe she'll get 10, 20 years as a Biden. Let her do it. I bet you he's not paying that child support either. That rat bastard. Nothing stresses me out more than people that don't pay child support.
This is weird. I guess FTX has no legal reason to reveal who he has like ripped off, and the people who are being ripped off also won't, because it could hurt their companies knowing that their names are on this list of people that have been ripped off by FTX. And so it put the judge in this really, Judge Dorsey, in this really like weird position to where he can't like, it's hard for him to decide what kind of charges to press if he doesn't know who he's pressing charges for, like that kind of thing. This is so crazy.
So are you saying that I should get the Apple Care for my new iPhone?
Yeah, I do. I just, I have.
But
it
here's
for
my problem.
iPhone.
Can I level with you for a minute?
Yeah.
For the past couple days, I had like a standing notification in my settings about I could still add Apple Care, but then I hit the not right now button, but I wanted it to save it for later so I could do it tomorrow when I got paid.
Yeah.
But now it's not there anymore. So can I still do it?
Yeah, you can. You just have to go in. It should be for 3 months. They should offer it to you for 3 months.
No, yeah, it said I still had like 90 days to do it, but
Yeah.
I don't know where to go in my phone to do it. I
Yeah.
can just do it on the.
Maybe
a
that's
website,
something we
you
can
think?
solve off air.
I don't know. I think this is people ask me this kind of shit all the time. Is the thing people ask me all the time? It's like, hey, I got a Roku. I used to do this professionally. People will call me on the phone and say, "Yeah, my Pro Tool don't work."
Why
And I'm
do you
like,
have to say
well,
it like that?
Here's the thing I want you to do first.
Hold
I mean,
I'm still
I would
listening.
walk people through. This is when I would really take my lunch break, was when we had this guy that every now and then would walk in with his entire iMac with his cables dangling for his keyboard and his mouse and his interface. And he'd bring his whole desktop computer into the store for someone, I guess, to show him how to operate the stuff he had purchased there and installed on that computer. So I would see him standing in, checking in, signing in his computer with the door guy, because we still had those then. And that's when I'd be like, guys, hey, you know what? I got to take a shit.
It was so funny. I was at the place today. I was at the place 2 days ago at the Apple store, and he says, "Dude, we have regulars." I said, "What?" He says, "Yeah, we have fucking
Oh, yeah.
regulars here who come in here every week." And I was like, "Who has that kind of time?" He says, "I don't know."
But what for? For like help?
Yeah, just fucking problems with their
Oh,
kid.
that's awful. Can you
Isn't that
imagine
horrible?
having to do that? Oh my God, I just got sick.
They don't get paid on commission, the Apple people, the Apple store people. So they like, I think
That's probably better, though. That'd be a stressful commission job.
Hey, I definitely
know.
recommend. I definitely recommend Elijah Craig's Small.
You need a
Batch.
commission. You need a commission incentive on something that's harder to sell, something people might not really need,
Yeah,
like
you
an
don't need to sell an
appointment
iPhone.
for home renovation consulting. You know what I mean? Like something like
Who's
an
selling the
all-in-one
iPhone?
cleaner. Here's my thing. It's awful. That's the worst. There's people that try to hire me to do things that just digitally
This is
literate
true.
citizens
I can
just
confirm
do for
that.
themselves.
I need an
People just do
assistant.
it. Yeah. And it's wild. I mean, I don't know how people live. I don't know how people file their taxes and live. I don't get it. It's just got to be hard because it's just the technology is such a struggle for some people, especially older people.
Yeah, it is. It's a shame. It's a shame. Hold on, I didn't know my
especially
iPad audio
older bipolar narcissists who are not the strongest communicators. It's a lot. It's really hard for them to remember their passwords and to really understand the fundamentals. It's okay though. I'm gonna pray for him. I'm gonna raise it up. Alec Baldwin's going to jail. I think
BPD.
I would totally believe. What?
Somebody needs to be taking care of our elderly BPD people.
Yeah, and it's not me. I can't keep doing it.
I have this couple that's coming into the. I've made a lot of really good relationships with my new job, but like somebody wants my resume, and like I don't have a resume. Like I have nothing to show for my life
I do
so
those.
far.
I have I somebody just sent me a resume.
Could you whip me up a batch of lies for my resume? I seriously am. I'm gonna lie about like 49% of the shit on there because it's like any of the things they need me to prove. If you give me 5 days notice, I can learn all that shit and be good at it by the time the interview comes around.
5 days.
Yeah, like a coding language or something. Like I can get down what I need
Joe,
to know.
do you know how to work this fryer? It says on your resume you could work this fryer. It's like, well, yes, but I can't show you for another at least 5 days.
Well, I wouldn't be saying it in the fucking interview.
Joe, do you think you could fry me up a batch of chicken? Yep, in 5.5 days.
Give me 5 days and I'm ready to do that. Oh, I've just come down with a profound sickness. I've got to leave this interview immediately.
Instagram's fucked up. Have you noticed this? My Instagram is broken. So there's one problem I've noticed recently that I just got reminded about in a headline I had sent Joe. Instagram has officially been advised to free the nipple. This has already kind of started. There's a trend of like reels of people who are basically naked but wearing like mesh or sheer like see-through type of clothing where you see like full areola and they're like doing very sexual kind of motions right there at the top of your timeline. It's like a sponsored like promoted thing because these people are trying to get you to go to their paid platforms where they sell that kind of sexualized content, I guess, OnlyFans and whatnot.
Good for them.
You'll be like just in line at Taco Bell and you whip your phone out, you're just waiting for your food, and then you open Instagram, and I have a giant 19-inch phone, and I go to open my Instagram, and it's just areola, unsolicited, unrequested. There it is right now. I can't even show you. It's too hot. It's too crazy.
That's the most offensive thing is when you're in class, you pull up Instagram and fucking
oh my God, these people are like naked, and they're trying to get you to go to their OnlyFans, and I've like, and you can report it or whatever. But now, I mean, it's official that Instagram is supposed to allow areola. And that I don't mind. Because, like, there's straight up porn on Twitter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can also avoid that stuff. This stuff is not stuff that I have followed. These are not pages that I follow. This is sponsored content. People trying to sell OnlyFans accounts with...
More power to Twitter. More power to Instagram, man. Good for them. Free the nipple.
I appreciate the freedom. I want to be able to not have boobs on my phone without me asking for boobs on my phone. So you're going
to discriminate.
I know I can. I know I can get boobs on my phone. I know how to do it.
But if I didn't ask for it, trying to cancel their ads on your phone, like they say.
But if I didn't ask for it, I don't want it. What if I'm at dinner with my wife's family and then I just go to check Instagram real quick and there's big old boobs on my phone that I didn't even ask for? They're not boobs I've ever seen. They're not boobs that I follow.
That's so funny.
Well, who's the cat hissing at? You two will calm down. They're fighting. The cats are in a tussle. It's probably a dominance thing. I think they want water. You guys just had.
They're fighting for water in your house.
It's Mad Max out here. There's water in the toilet, kids.
I was freeing the nipple on Instagram the other day, and I got a lot of requests for the nipple. Jake, you've got to stop. You look like you're dying every time you go down. You look like you're having a seizure.
Really? I'm just looking at my phone.
It's so disturbing. Anyway,
Here, I'll hold my phone up like this so people can see it.
yeah, you just look like you're going down every time.
These, it's like a POV thing. These girls are acting like you're engaging in a sex act with them, and you can see full areola through like a mesh top. And it's like it's all about, this one's about when I let King Charles hit.
Oh, interesting.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is that? And it's definitely a sponsored thing. And there's these weird pages that like reshare the same stuff. Okay. And here's the other thing though. These same pages also share like crazy, like violent things that should not be on social media. They share like security footage from like robberies and stuff where people get shot like for real in real life.
No, yeah, the number of
And
violent crimes I've seen. I've seen like dogs getting eaten by alligators on my TikTok. I'm like, God, what the fuck? It's insane. You know?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah, this guy. Look, they're pointing guns. They're smoking in the house. Oh, careful. This gun's going to go off. I can tell. Oh, God. Oh, how's he going to do it?
Careful.
Please don't hurt yourself. It's
Careful.
just wild. And like I report this stuff, I unfollow some of these accounts and then they get sponsored. Oh, he's okay. He just did a little house pop. Well, house pop. You can't have the live ammunition. This girl right here, I don't want to see this anymore. I don't need to report it as much as I just don't want to see it. Is there a thing I could be like, no more of this one? How do I do that? The girl that is pretending to have intercourse with King Charles will not get off my phone. This whole time we've been talking about it, she keeps coming back up. Every time I move on.
It's so funny.
I just don't like it.
And now that you've interacted with it at all, and it now believes that you're obsessed with it, the algorithm.
Well, that's the problem too.
Yeah.
And now they want me to read about community guidelines. Oh, it's exhausting. Yeah. It's so hard. I just want to feed my birds.
All right, moving on.
Woo! Dad in Ecuador legally changes gender identity in desperate bid to win custody of children.
Fox News.
Oh no, it's not. I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, oh hell yeah, it is, brother. Yeah, we report Fox News on this show, bitches.
A dad in Ecuador who's dealing with a criminal split from his wife legally changed his gender identity to help him win custody of his daughters. Ecuador is punished.
Salinas Ramos' official ID card now lists him as femenino. That is so funny. Of course, Fox News would say it like that. Femenino.
Yeah.
Government issued documents.
Well, go ahead. Tell me about it.
Well, because of the way it favors him in the court system. Because
well, that's obvious, isn't it? Isn't that basically the plot of I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry?
Yeah, right. In the mother's home, and he hadn't seen them in a 5-month period. The custody battle is still ongoing. Until this matter is resolved, the children have to stay with their mother.
But even in America, it's, that system tends to rule for more time with the mother unless there's, evidence of a reason why that's not a good idea, right?
Yeah. So the law is
which is fine.
Yeah, so that's the law, and he's saying the law is taking. So he's becoming their mother in order to challenge that law, right? And so, yeah, the law is until the matter is resolved, the children have to stay with the mother, right? And so the law is.
Well, here's the thing. With all this information being out there, I don't know that the Latin American court systems are necessarily very sympathetic to the otherly gendered. You know what I mean?
That's true. It's good.
Is this in Ecuador?
This is in Ecuador, yeah. He says the law is.
I don't know that. I just don't know that they're the most. I mean, this has been well documented in other media that I don't have to, defend this at all. I just hear that there's a lot of homophobia down in those parts, and I just worry that maybe it could have the opposite effect that he's attempting.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to pray for him.
Well, I think this is a case of the fact that they don't let that a lot of these things get pushed through a circuit instead of being like, we don't like here in America, like you have to be like tried. There has to be a jury. There has to be, and so like, even it's actually a huge headache and it keeps a lot of productivity from happening. But if we were to make it more productive, it would just be a dictatorship, but like down there, you may not always have the opportunity to appear in court. And because of that, these things get pushed through court. And so this is his attempt to complicate the matter on paper, because if all they're seeing is the paper, like he's not appearing in court as their mother because there is no court appearance. So he's trying to complicate the system by identifying two mothers in the matter, and that way giving his court case probably the time of day, the time that it deserves, But he's saying that the law takes away our right to be parents. Changing my official documents is a proof of love. And I like that. It's Salinas Ramos is reportedly the first man in Ecuador to use gender laws to gain the upper hand in a custody battle. And news of the gender change has set off criticism from transgender activists in the South American country. The man's private matter to obtain custody of his daughters isn't the spirit of the law. Yeah. Anyway, that was a good topic.
I love it. I love that. And that's hard because we had a very organized and very vested sort of divorce agreement the second time around in my family when I was a kid. We could have even spent a lot more time with either parent if we, wanted to, but it was just kind of a hostile. We were all teenagers, and it was just not. It was hard to build that quality time. So it wasn't like we were being kept from each other and all. So I hope they get to that point. A custody battle is never what you want to hear. So that's goofy. It should be a movie. Did you know that MacGruber was the most recent Saturday Night Live movie?
Really?
That was one of the trivia questions tonight, but I feel like that was a long time ago.
It was like 10 years ago.
I mean, and also I always hear this thing that people complain about, that people don't make like really good comedies anymore like they used to, and they blame a lot of it on, the culture, the climate of sensitivity or whatever, which I don't like. I don't necessarily spend a lot of time on that. That's stupid.
The best comedies are that one director who did The Other Guys and The Big Short. What's that guy's name? The Other Guys was my favorite comedy of all time. It only has like a 75% rating on.
But like, I also made this joke. Maybe my mic isn't loud enough. I need to start bringing my own PA again, because when it's a big game like that, people just can't hear me. And if my jokes bomb because people can't hear me, it makes me feel insecure, even if it's not my fault. But I said, I think they waited too long to do Wayne's World 3.
Yeah.
They'd be too old.
Yeah.
That'd be goofy as hell. Aren't they 60 now? And nobody wants to work with Mike Myers?
Yeah.
And what is that about? Why are all the comedy geniuses of the 80s and 90s actually like really abusive people?
Well, I didn't know that. Why no one will?
I mean, I don't think Mike Myers ever I don't think he ever groped anybody, but he was just like really mean, and like how Chevy Chase was like really mean and hard to work with.
He has rubbed people the wrong way. Maybe he's autistic. That's how he could dodge that. As funny as he is on screen, Myers has been described as difficult to work with off screen. Myers has allegedly clashed with people on set, including his. Like, it feels that this description just makes it feel like just like I don't know, he's just weird, and I hate that. It's just like so like they can't put their finger on it, Yeah,
that is weird.
Why Donna Carvey and Mike Myers are not friends?
Well, because people love Dana Carvey.
Carvey discussed in a recent interview the two had actually been estranged for years after Carvey accused Myers of stealing the Dr. Evil character featured in the House of Horrors movies from him. So he stole, because he's already like 5 characters in the movie, That's so funny. I don't know. It's a shame. I feel like Donna Carvey's a
Joe,
really cool person.
Joe,
to be
you
friends
were
with.
really passionate about the Missouri broadband issue. So there was recently something we talked about on the show about Missouri having a deadline, but a pathway for people to apply for broadband internet to be extended into their area, specifically like rural areas. Like there's neighborhoods even in like House Springs or Eureka or whatever where you don't feel like you're out in the middle of nowhere, but you're on like a satellite internet connection that's like throttled and like limited to a certain amount of gigs every month or whatever. And so this was targeted at that people that just don't have the infrastructure on their street yet, right? But you were saying it was kind of set up to fail, and they didn't want people to sign up, and that's why they didn't promote it. And
it's all conjecture.
The deadline has passed, but I wanted to revisit. I know we talked about it on the phone earlier.
Yeah, I think it feels like a situation in which they needed enough people to sign up for it so they could justify the expenditure. But I think if they don't, they get to, it's Missouri's getting a piece of more than $42 billion to pay for broadband access as part of a federal program. But I feel like if they don't use it, they get to maybe use that. There might be a clause they get to use it elsewhere, or they don't want to use that portion of the funds for that. So the FCC is trying to determine who has access and who doesn't, and what potential errors there are. Errors could be related to location of serviceable areas and what services are available. And I feel like it's one of those things where they poorly advertise this in an attempt to, not popularize it, and they're trying to use the money for other things. I feel like it was kind of I feel like we were kind of gypped. I feel like the citizens consistently get gypped on like government subsidies because they don't advertise them, because they don't want them to take, like, they could argue that they don't want them to, quote, like, be taken advantage of, but I don't think that's the case. I think they're just trying to, like, I think they're just being selfish with the money, it feels like, on my end, because I just feel like this is a pretty big expansion that we should. So
they get a big chunk of money from probably a national grant, but it's being divvied up to different states in different ways. And then if they don't, the more people that sign up, the more of that money they have to immediately spend in that infrastructure. You're saying, right?
Yeah, we saw it with like.
Yeah, Missouri's definitely in a holding pattern. We got all that money from Kroenke for the Rams lawsuit.
Oh yeah.
And the choice, and this is interesting because I hadn't really thought about this until recently, that organizations have investments that, like I work with something similar to a church here that because sometimes I have to do stuff for their meetings or whatever. And one of the things is they, as like a church type of organization, take their surplus revenue or whatever, and they invest it in a portfolio, so that the the profit of the business or whatever is invested. And schools do this, employee unions do this.
This is the history of pensions in general. It was the corruption of excess pension. That's what.
But also, in this case, so either the state of Missouri or the city of St. Louis is investing all of the money from the Kroenke settlement, or maybe not all of it, but a huge chunk of it, in different things that they described in this article here, different ways of investing it, to grow it over time, as opposed to just immediately spending it all on one thing.
And I wonder where all those profits,
which again is crazy, because again, you usually think of in these types of things, it's like, oh, well, if we get a grant for $750 million, we need to go ahead and spend it on a new stadium or a new bridge or a new fucking whatever. But instead investing it to kind of hopefully maybe eventually help stabilize the budget here. It's a huge problem. People want to get rid of the 1% earnings tax in St. Louis, but then they have no way of replacing that budget. We don't pay the cops enough, but we also don't have 100,000 of those jobs filled or something.
Well, when we see exponential growth from investments, because that amount is like probably poorly regulated, how much you can profit off of the investments, because the sky's the limit on that. Who knows how that money's being divvied up? You know what I mean? Like, who knows where the excess money is going when it's still above the margin they had in the first place? If you keep the amount fixed, that you put in on the investment, and as long as that money's still around, whatever money that grows from that money and investments, who knows where that money goes? You know what I mean?
So Macy's isn't closing all of their stores.
No, it's all of them. They're starting on the West Coast. They're starting on the West Coast.
Macy's to permanently close its stores. Macy's will be permanently shuttering several stores in 2023 as part of its Polaris transformation strategy, which aims to optimize and reposition its mall and off-mall locations.
Yeah.
So they are going to close a bunch in LA, Colorado, Maryland, Hawaii. They're going to have 12 weeks of clearance beginning in January, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
Big and tall clearance. Can I get a 4X? I have a long
Goodwill
torso.
was just
I have a
your
long torso.
Was your shit,
I
man.
can't go to Goodwill. You can't get
Goodwill,
a 4X.
Goodwill, yeah, you can. That's all anytime they get excess from stores, all that shit gets donated.
No, who is donating excess from stores? Macy's is more likely to throw the shit in the garbage than give it.
They don't have 4X at Macy's.
I used to get them. You can get them online now. There's a brand they have that are real nice. Managing director of global data Neil Saunders addressed the Macy's store closure, saying most of the heavy lifting has been completed. Continue reading. Has opened quite a few new locations in 2022, but they are re-strategizing. It looks like. I mean, and also these stores now in the last 10 years have started to function largely as like a hub for the online business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is what
people need to do the returns and exchanges, and returns are an excellent opportunity for a different sale if you have a different sale to make. So if you make them return everything in the mail, they're not going to buy anything else. But if they can bring it to a store and not have to mail it, because people don't like mailing things, then they're going to walk by something. Maybe they'll get a candle. Maybe they'll get a crusette. Maybe they'll get some shoes.
It would be so funny if they got it down to the point where like all you had to do, like Amazon, made their workers suffer hard enough to where like all you do was just throw whatever it was that was in the box at them at the doorstep. You don't have to repackage anything.
Yeah, just leave it in the yard. And just tell them in the app, hey, I didn't want this. I left it in the fucking yard. And then they're like, okay, guys, you got to go pick up all the yard garbage. We're going to sell it to somebody else.
I mean, what's so funny is like if somebody were to propose that at like a table, and like with all the, investors or whatever, they'd be like, oh, so you mean like a program where you'd specially train people to like match items with no, we'll just get the drivers to do it. No, they can do it. They'll be fine.
No, they're out there anyway.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, you're delivering the new shit they just bought. And so if you see any of their shit in the yard, pick it up and bring it with you. We'll get you a bigger truck. Fuck you. What are you trying to get home to see your kids? It's Christmas. I need my yard garbage. We're going to shoot it into space.
Oh, my God.
You go get that stethoscope off that old lady's yard. We're sending it to the moon, Gerald.
Oh, my God.
You bag of shit. Get back in the van. They're just going to replace. They're going to repurpose all the trash trucks as Amazon trucks for picking up the returns.
Yeah.
And then nobody will drive those. There'll be giant trucks full of teddy bears, self-piloted.
Yeah.
By a dangerous anti-human AI.
Hilarious. We're so fucked. I mean, we're all going to be working for Amazon just to like, it's just going to be a circle of life. We're going to be delivering the shit, and buying the shit and delivering. We'll just all live off of Amazon and Whole Foods.
You know what? I love the Whole Foods delivery included in my Prime.
Yeah. You order a lot of shit from Whole Foods, do you?
I sometimes if I'm having people over and I need specific ingredients and I have to get the house ready.
How good is the same day?
Great. I mean, I can't believe they can pull it off. That's the thing. It is such a convenient service, and the prices are so much better on now that it's with Amazon than it was when it was just them.
You're just
They have different
watching
price
these
points.
people do these like circus acts in front of you. You're like, oh, how fun! They're
But
like
no, it's
running
crazy.
around
They
for
can,
their
okay,
life.
sometimes they fuck it up. Like one time I needed like a poultry
Sometimes
blend
they
of fresh
fuck it up.
herbs, and
They're
sometimes they
slaves,
fuck it
Jake.
up. Well, this is the problem with this system. Is because like for Thanksgiving, maybe I was trying to get fresh herbs delivered a couple days out, and because they didn't have the ones I wanted at the grocery store I went to in person.
You're a monster.
But instead of just refunding it, they got me a whole bunch of like oregano or like something that was not anything like what I wanted. But they got the same volume of herbs that I wanted, but just a completely different herb.
That is so
So that was cool. It would have been a very Spanish Christmas if we had gone with that.
they were like,
that
the manager
would've
was
been
just like,
nice.
just give him a bunch of shit.
Just give him,
Just give a bunch of shit.
give him whatever we
Give
got.
him some
Give him the
mangoes.
fucking oregano. It's
They're
Thanksgiving.
not
Give him
gonna say
oregano.
anything.
They'll
He's not
never
gonna complain.
forget.
Look at him.
They'll
He's not gonna
never
complain.
forget the year that they had only oregano at Thanksgiving.
Yeah. That's so
Oregano. It was really dumb. But also it just doesn't make sense. There's no way that the number of people that have access to that service can actually be serviced by it. It's
Yeah.
just not possible to have that many deliveries happening in the way that it's supposed to. And I've experienced this before. I experienced an Uber breakdown one time. I was hammered drunk at my friend Will's 50th birthday party, and they had a bartender, and it was very classy. And then he went to bed because me and my two friends couldn't leave because Uber was literally down, network-wide outage,
Oh my
and we didn't
God.
have Lyft yet.
Yeah.
And so my mom had to come get us. And then one year, Postmates really shit the bed on Valentine's Day, but it was also a blizzard. So it's like an impossible thing to offer. They need,
I just don't. Yeah,
they need to-
exactly. I watched.
they
a
need to
guy
tell people
steal-
no.
Oh, it was
This
so funny.
This not Walgreens. This
not
Dairy Queen over
regulated.
by me. This Dairy Queen over by me used to be a ghost town, and now it's plowed all the time because people see it on Postmates or whatever the other one is, and they get Grubhub, and there's like, oh, I can have Dairy Queen delivered.
Dude, you gotta hear
And-
this, man. I've seen it for like the third time this week, man. So the McDonald's in Eureka has a little kid. This fucking mom keeps her little kid there. She dresses him up in the fucking employee outfits and has him fucking working at the fucking McDonald's, dude. But the same thing is at the Chick-fil-A in fucking West County. They've got this kid looks like he's 14 years old, man. He's at the fucking Chick-fil-A. They've got like 3 workers at the fucking Chick-fil-A. I watched a guy online sit there, order his food, stare at the to-go counter where like they have a bunch of garbage that hasn't been picked up, and I watched him work around it in his mind. He was like, I'm just gonna take that shit. He just fucking took it and walked off. Like he just fucking like took the to-go orders and just like fucking, because they have all these fucking kids working at these fucking restaurants, and they have like 3 workers. Dude, it's fucking crazy.
Well, they'll just make, if anyone ever shows up to pick it up and says anything, they'll just make it again.
Just make it again. Well, they have
But
nobody.
that's what the guy saw is like either people aren't picking up these Uber Eats orders or no one's going to stop me from taking them.
Exactly. Nobody's getting paid enough to stop me. Everything is a fucking Rust film
That's how
production
it-
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because that's the thing, because they're trying to maximize profits by minimizing every other expenditure possible. And you were talking about this earlier. I mean, when you constantly slash labor, just the rest of the thing is there's a reason you need labor costs in your organization. And if you start to cut those, the things that you rely on for that labor are going to suffer. The reliability, the availability, the quality.
But it's just like the pandemic, like everything all of the things that the Gates unleashed during the pandemic. The only security precautions set into place by the corporations was the general social contract of the people. Like they were like, yeah, no, we're not going to have anybody guarding the to-go orders. Just rely on the fact that somebody will think to themselves, it's wrong to steal, or like, don't rely on, like, people see a telehealth thing where you can get unlimited amounts of drugs delivered to you with no regulation. Just hope that they think, well, I don't want to undermine the system, that's what the pandemic did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. It's crazy.
But what's sad is
Yes.
that if we had just not exploited it, if America wasn't based on on like constantly exploiting, like America's, we're still kind of part of the American dream is establishing laws based on exploitation. So like a really good example is the Hustler magazine guy. Like he was trying to push the limits of freedom of speech. So quote, we didn't have to, but really he's just trying to exploit it enough to where like he can challenge the system enough to where, no laws will be in place or
Is that
whatever.
what that movie was about?
Yeah. And like he
I
acts
should
like
watch
he's
that.
It was a good movie. He acts like he's some sort of hero, but he's not. But it's the same thing with like the telehealth stuff. It's like Americans are almost trained from a young age through like media and stuff. It's like if you see an exploit, use it. That's the way it is. Like you're a good American if you exploit the system somehow. And so like anytime there's a chance for people to exploit it, they absolutely will. And
And it's not even so much like the system itself promotes that, like the legal system or whatever, but the culture definitely values that. We definitely
cheating.
We don't want to hear that you went to school for 8 years and you worked really hard and you had a really good idea and you worked 18-hour days and then you sold it to a company and now you get to fish every day with your grandkids. Nobody cares about
we
that.
hate that.
Everyone wants to hear that you were a stripper and then you stabbed a guy that tried to rob you and now you're a rapper. Like like that's what people want.
We love
people
that
want to
shit.
hear. People want to hear that you won the lottery and you launched a Lamborghini into space.
Or how about this?
I mean?
Or how about this? We love to hear, it's like Iron Man. It's like, yeah, he was born a prodigy and now he's the smartest man in the world. Now he can fly.
What is that voice you're doing? What is that voice you're doing?
I
Stop
don't
that
know.
voice.
I just made it up.
Don't do a different voice.
But
that's not the one.
We just love like magic. We don't love like, yeah, he went to school and he got really educated and we love like he was a prodigy. It was magic. You know what I mean? Like we love prodigies. We don't like people who worked hard. Working hard in America is a scam.
Oh, this is on Paramount Plus. I got that. The People versus Larry Flint. I'm gonna put that on.
Yeah,
okay, so I accidentally got too far into Red Dead, and I'm accidentally in the epilogue. I kind of wanted to
really
finish.
You beat the game?
I wanted to finish. Well, the story part. I wanted to kind of finish all the open world stuff before I did the last like big climactic train heist or whatever. And so now I'm in the epilogue playing as a different character, and I don't like it as much. And I'm supposed to get some of my weapons back, but like I had a whole cache of firearms, dog.
I love that. So funny. You were just savoring and serving. Then you accidentally like stepped out of line and then accidentally are finishing the game. Like fuck.
No, yeah. I accidentally reached a very satisfying conclusion to the arc of the story, but too quickly.
What a shame.
It's kind of got rushed at some point. Like I guess I probably grinded out too much of the side stuff early on. Because then I started plowing through the story missions once I finished all the side missions, and now I got like, I don't know. The epilogue still has pieces. It still has several pieces. I can't seem to get into my Paramount Plus here to watch The People versus Larry Flint, but we will get there. It's also on Showtime, which I think I have a subscription of somewhere for. Yes, I agree to the terms of service. God. Yeah, I have a DirecTV on the low, brother. You gotta have a burner.
Oh yeah, burner. Yeah, that came in handy the other day for you. Well, what did you mean by
iPhone?
that? What did you mean by that? Did you just mean an old phone that you had?
An old phone that I actually kept in shape, because here's what happened with that phone is when I got my last iPhone, that previous iPhone had been the audio chip went bad, which is a thing that happens, that it's a component in the phone that converts the audio signal from your microphone into the phone to be transmitted to other things, right? But they don't really replace those because it's kind of more expensive than just getting a new phone. And so but the screen was cracked, so they didn't want me to trade it in because they wanted to bill me for the deductible for the. This is so interesting for the Asurian plan that I have with it or whatever. So I just kept it to play Pokemon Go on because I had my aunt's old Pokemon Go account, and it's supposed to be one account per device. And so if I'm doing a raid battle for a Charizard and I need some backup, I would have it in my bag and I could hotspot it and I could get in there.
So funny.
Now, in this case, the phone, my middle iPhone, my last full-time iPhone before this one, the screen quit working. I had replaced the screen a couple of times, and sometimes if you hit those, they won't crack, but the screen will quit functioning. And but I'm the ideal Verizon customer, and I had all my shit backed up. I had a backup from that morning, the day it broke, and I had all my passwords and shit for all my clouds and shit. So I put the SIM card in my phone with the bad audio chip just so I could get my text messages to let everyone know I was alive. And then I went into the phone store and we didn't have a single goddamn problem. I had an upgrade ready to go. I had been sitting on. I knew it was coming. And, God is good.
It's fantastic.
It's really good. What is the... and what else we got here? Bad Baby says fans who subscribe to her OnlyFans right when she turned 18 should be in jail. This is an interesting perspective.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
I love Bad Baby. I love the idea that she could take that vulnerable moment on that TV show with that man with that mustache, and then she can transform that into a career where she can actually be who she wants to be, talk the way she wants to talk, and find an outlet where that can, bring positivity to her life. I also think her and her mom probably have a toxic relationship where they like that dramatic discourse between one another. And I like some of the music. White Porsche, brother.
Oh, hell yeah. Dude,
I
she's
mean,
not bad. She's got a good producer behind her.
I like These Hoes is a bop.
Hell yeah.
And that's a direct reference to her, like Dr. Phil kind of moment or whatever. But the song itself is actually really fun to listen to. And I like the really aggressive kind of like the hyper pop and the really kind of like next gen bloopy internet hip hop thing that the kids are doing. I like it. It's scary. It's intense. And that's always fun for me. I like to feel a little like, ooh.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to feel that the revolution is at the door. You know what I mean? That you don't understand where the world is going. You don't know if they even want you there. You know what I mean? Because it's like, woo, girl. That is a zing. That is the type of juice you don't just get.
100%. 100%.
Yep.
No, her music's good.
You are so boring.
I'm sorry. I'm fucking looking shit up.
But here's the thing. So this is interesting. So she had started her own OnlyFans where she was going to sell, we'll call it intimate content to her fans there. And so she did this of her own volition, of course, with consent. Am I correct?
Yes.
But then she's making the comment that, well, I started it right when I was 18. But really, if you're subscribing to my OnlyFans right when I'm 18, that only makes you just very, very recently not a pedophile. Is that her perspective?
Yes.
The night you turned 18, you registered to vote. That's not what I thought you were going to say. She joined OnlyFans. Okay, so she joined OnlyFans almost immediately. Right, and then everyone else was like, "We'll give their money back if that's how you feel." That makes sense to me. Oh my God in heaven! I fucking am so sick of these cats. They're trying to kill me. Lord God. Okay,
I just don't understand. I just don't understand how. Like, it feels like they're doing a social experiment where they're just like, let this little girl say whatever she wants without being like, because again, there are people like there are usually people like in place of like public, public interactions, like celebrities like that say, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't say this," you know. But like that's her whole career was based on her doing unhinged things, like her saying irrelevant things that are just crazy. Like, but that also I think is such a testament to. I'm going off the chain here. I think it's such a testament to how so many women act about that shit. Like they put stuff out there like that, and then they say, "Oh, shame on them for responding that way." You know, and it's like that just shows how unchecked so many women are.
Well, it's a little weird
in this world.
I don't necessarily like generalizing about an entire.
Well, it's a particular gender of people.
Right, but that I don't typically like. I don't typically like to generalize in that.
I know,
but I do understand that there are some people that participate in that pattern, right, where they do something to draw attention to themselves, and then they get mad as if that was the goal when someone pays attention to it. You know what I mean? And you'll see it like if you wear something really low cut with a lot of cleave. You know what I mean? People are naturally genetically just drawn to the cleave. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe they shouldn't gawk at it. They certainly shouldn't touch you, or maybe they shouldn't say anything.
And the gender of that person with the cleave.
But if you're gonna draw attention to the first person who glances for a little too long, even for a second, and when you know you're putting it out there like that, like that's hypocritical and kind of problematic, right?
Yeah.
And so for you to start an OnlyFans and then insinuate that the patrons of your OnlyFans should be
your success that you're directly benefiting from the problematic situation that
you're selling them. That'd be like if I sold you a bag of drugs and then called the police and said, "This motherfucker just bought a bag of drugs." This young man here's officer.
Yeah,
but this young man just bought some drugs.
Like I think
I don't have any drugs. I sold all my drugs to him.
But I think she's a little bit of a siren of like the siren pun intended. I think she's a little bit of a siren of like how the logic of like so many women in their anger towards men. Well, it's a particular gender, Jake, and I'm saying it. I'm coming out of the cage. I'm the new Andrew Tate. Jacob V Weekly remembers Andrew Tate's new platform. You just leave the frame. You just walk out of the frame. No, but I mean, it's just like it makes me so mad. It's just like, you know, I feel like she feels so safe saying that because there's so many.
Well, and that's always been a problem with her,
right?
She really seems to get juice out of saying things that are kind of that are drawing attention to her and they are going to upset people, right? I mean, that's always been her thing.
Maybe she's aware. I think you're right. Maybe she's aware.
That's definitely part of the thing. I definitely think she's way into it because Dr. Phil talked about this on some podcasts that she had improved a lot, had done really well. But when she gets back with her mom, her and her mom do this back and forth in creating drama because it's some kind of infatuation they both have.
That's so funny, man. You know, and guess what gender they both are? This is all good fun, folks. Yeah, this is just a couple guys doing a podcast in a basement. You know, we're just hanging out.
Yeah, not for long.
Not for long.
You motherfucker.
We solved so many problems tonight, man.
But here's the thing. I love Bad Baby. But don't sell somebody something and then say they should go to jail for buying it.
I've always said that.
I have since day one. That's the first thing I ever said to you when you walked into my mom's house when you were 14.
It's true.
I said, Joe, what's your name?
Joe. Yeah.
Don't ever put somebody in jail for buying something that you sold them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, for real.
And that's everything right now. That's Israel. You know what I mean? That's Palestine. That's Kashmir. What's the spot? Kenosha. Baltimore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ferguson. I wonder what's going on in Ferguson these days. Is it cleaned up?
I don't know.
Are they happy over there?
I mean, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard very much about it. I haven't been. Have you ever been to Ferguson?
Oh, absolutely. Plenty.
Really?
Lots and lots of Craigslist deals. Mostly, there's a stream of apartments there that a lot of struggling musicians, I guess, live in because I go over there to buy microphones and pedals a couple times a year.
Really?
Yeah, it's happened for like 5 or 6 times.
It does. Is that where they're
Um,
stealing all that shit?
No, I mean, these all seem to be like normal people that and there's businesses over there, and there are families that have lived there their whole lives or whatever, and they are part of that community. We just, they were going through a rough time with the police, but I wonder if it's any better. Any news out of Ferguson?
I mean, I haven't. Let's see, Ferguson in the news. Ferguson Mo.
I
in
know.
the
I'm
news.
looking.
Let's see. We have here. We've got
We got a
Parson
lot of
wants to make
names of
I-70
people.
improvements. No, there's no. There was nothing going on before that whole shit.
But I'm just wondering, like, is it better there now?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All the controversial figures from that time are gone, right?
Yeah.
Any of the chiefs or lieutenants or captains or DAs or whoever the type of people were that were causing a lot of the people to feel that injustice, that discourse between that dissent, that what's the word? The conflict between the people of Ferguson, specifically the people of color, and the police of Ferguson. I think a lot of that leadership is turned over by now.
Yeah.
So maybe it's
Yeah.
all quiet. And that's what the people want. The people want it to be quiet. Those people that actually live there, that's their home, they don't want to be on the news.
No. Hell no.
And I was a teacher at that time when that was going on. And so that was really a very emotional time. And I don't know that kids are ever as engaged in that stuff knowingly or whatever. I think we were much more sensitive to it as the adults, because we understand that, oh my God, this is really serious and it's really close to home and blah, blah, blah. So we were trying to be prepared for any kids that maybe were like that. But it was definitely, I don't know. But that was also a long time ago, Joe. That was almost 10 years ago, dude.
Yeah, I can't believe it was fucking. I remember. I lived.
You were
down
an
there.
infant. You were just a tadpole.
Well, I lived near there at the time. I lived in West End, and
Yeah, you're a vagabond, is what you are.
I'm a vagabond. Yeah, that's true.
The West End is nowhere. Where's the West End near Ferguson? You got
I
to
don't
go way
know.
north. to
I
get to
lived
Ferguson
in
from
the
West
city. I
End.
just identified as somebody who lived in the city. I mean, really, it wasn't even that close at all.
I think the Ferguson is its own municipality, brother. That's mad
Yeah.
insensitive, G.
That's mad. Yeah, you're correct. Yeah. No, but yeah, I lived near there. Yep.
What do you say we wrap this shit up so I can
Yeah.
go watch this Larry Flint movie?
You're gonna watch that for real?
Oh, I got pulled up right here waiting for me. Guys, that is another episode of Jacob V Weekly. No Antics tonight at the Duck Room. Fresh Rain tomorrow at the Alton VFW. If you're one of my Alton dwellers, sister, hit us up on the socials. You can text the show at any time, 626-4208. Joe, we're like staying on top of doing this every week. Isn't that great?
Yeah. Well, this is my dream. This is my
It's
dream.
like a real show.
Jacob
And you know what? I
Eagley is
really like
my
this.
vision.
Go ahead and text us or comment on any of the platforms here. We're multi-streaming right now live to get the initial episode produced, and then I go through and I fix and clean up and mix the audio, and then I post that kind of immediately. So if you're watching us at any point in our video format, I really like having Joe on the Discord, which you can also join here on the screen.
Oh, you could really? That's a great idea.
Well, the Discord my personal Discord for the show is, or whatever, has always been on the header here for the live stream. So we'd love to interact. We would love to interact with you in any way. Rate, subscribe, share, whatever you do. If you see us in more than one place, like us in both those places. We're on Spotify. You could boost me a number there, girl. The only way to support the show financially is patreon.com/JacobV. Today, January 20th, No Antics has a new music video out that I personally conceived and directed and co-shot with the crew. We did it DIY style. My friend Cole showed up to help out a little bit, and the whole thing was really great. I did a lot of it with the DJI camera. This is a little camera. It's beautiful, wonderful, and it's a really cool video. Molly does all the editing for our videos, and she's an absolute genius. She's exactly what you want in somebody like that. Gifted, focused, just really good. The video's live now. No Antics on YouTube. Go find that. Come see us at the Duck Room. Blinded by Stereo at Bandcamp. Find that record. Matt will ship it to you. It's on beautiful blue vinyl, 180 grams. It sounds really good. Produced right here in St. Louis. It's Sawhorse. We'll see you soon. We'll see you next week. It's Jacob V. Weekly. High five.